It lumbers through Manhattan streets like, well, like the dinosaur it is, the last of an automotive age.
People tell me years ago they used to wait for they always used to wait for checkers, even if they had to wait 10 minutes.
The wait is a lot longer now. Of the 12,000 taxis in New York, Checkers are all but extinct. In fact, just 3 are still on the streets of the city.
I love your taxi.
Oh, thank you.
Cab owner Johann Struna's first view of America was from the back seat of a Checker. Now, his cab could be the last of an era. How many miles are on this car?
Oh, and I got now 354,000.
It's pretty hard to get romantic about a taxi ride in New York City in the 90s, unless it's this particular cab. This Checker is a forgotten world of skyscrapers and big city glamour, of Cary Grant movie scenes and Rhapsody in Blue. In the 1950s, Checkers were a signature of Manhattan streets, and in dozens of movies, from drama to comedy. Only a Checker cab said New York.
Well, it's a pleasure to be in your cab, sir.
Oh, thank you.
In a town where busy is a civic religion, that kind of idle pleasantry is a bit unusual. But when we hired Johann Struna's Checker for the day, we found this taxi was more than just a ride for most people.
That's too bad. We need more Checker cabs.
It even might affect some of life's most important decisions.
I gave up being pregnant when they did away with Checkers. I couldn't get in the other taxis.
The mystique extends to private owners. Ask any of the hundreds of members of the Checker Car Club of America, like stockbroker Shelley Baus.
I come from the Bronx. You know, I can't get any more Bronx than a Checker cab. These are memories, this is nostalgia.
The Checker assembly line closed in 1982, and New Yorkers' beloved cab, with its wide doors and more room than some Manhattan apartments, is in danger of disappearing forever, but not the memories.
Wow, you really are special.
For today, Pat Dawson, NBC News, New York.
And if you come to New York and you get into Johann Struna's Checker cab, tell him you saw him right here on the Today Show. We're back in a moment. This is Today on NBC.
From high atop the Manhattan skyline, follow us as we show you the last of an endangered species. Its habitat is the Sea of Yellow. Exactly 12,053 yellow cabs are available for hailing in the Big Apple, and 12,052 of them are either sedans or minivans. But one is different, this one, the last licensed Checker cab in New York City. 63-year-old Slovenian immigrant Johann Struna is its owner.
It brings back memories to New York.
The Checker cab has for decades been a symbol of New York. The shot of a Checker driving across New York's Queensboro Bridge was the memorable opening of every episode of the old show Taxi. A generation ago, there were thousands of Checkers on the streets. But after the Checker assembly line closed in 1982, Checkers started disappearing as New York City required newer cars. And now, after what may be an irreparable problem with the only other Checker cab, Johann Struna's is the last one on the street. And nearly every passenger has a comment about it.
I thought there were several Checker cabs last, like maybe 10 or something like that. Is it really just the last one?
That was like 2-3 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Feels like I'm driving an antique. There's nothing comparable that replaces new cabs or nothing like this.
The Checker is the ultimate family cab, not only because of its size, but because of its 2 pull-up stools in the back.
It's a cool taxi, isn't it? Why is it cool? It has an extra seat.
The Checker is such a rare sight in this town that Johann Struna is treated like a celebrity. His car a reminder of a more innocent time. Struna says he would have never enjoyed the job so much if he wasn't driving a Checker.
Well, New York City loves the Checkers. I love the Checker. The Taxi and Limousine Commission loves the Checker. But it's just regrettable that time moves on and the Checker didn't move with us.
The day is not far away when New York will no longer have any of these classic cars. But this taxi continues to make its driver money, as well as remind people of New York's checkered past.
I have a exemption to keep it for 2 more years.
And what happens after 2 more years?
Then hopefully we can retire together.
Gary Tutman, CNN.
B, Dodge 'em cars. C, New York City Taxi Simulator. It's very disturbing to me. When I first came to New York, and I know when you first came to New York, what were the cabs then, Paul?
55 cents for openers.
Huh?
55 cents.
Right, but...
Well, that's what they cost. Isn't that what you meant?
No, what were they? It was the big...
Oh, big yellow taxis,
big
sure.
Checker.
Sure, Checker cabs, Checker
beautiful,
cabs.
Beautiful cars.
Yeah.
And then they were, for a while, they went to the Chevy Caprice. There's a sweet ride.
Right.
And now they're like vans.
In New York, there's a new law that goes into effect on taxis today. Taxis owned by a fleet only have 3 years left to be on New York City streets, or they only have a 3-year lifespan. And if the cab is owned by an individual, it has a maximum of 5 years to serve passengers. That's a new law, and as a direct result of it, at least 1,100 taxis are going to be replaced between April and August of this year. But there are some exceptions to the rule. Kathleen Murphy joins us from 33rd Street in Manhattan with more. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Tony. There are some exceptions, and they are beautiful exceptions. This is a Checker cab. It is a 1981 Checker cab, and because it has historical significance, it is going to be allowed to stay on the road as long as it passes 3 safety inspections a year. This is Johann Struna. He's from Slovenia. He is 63 years old. He is the owner and the driver of this particular Checker cab. Johann, what do you think of this new rule that will take cabs off the street 3 to 5 years?
Well, for me it's okay since I got the exemption. Then I make it until I reach my full retirement age.
You're going to retire in a couple years, right?
Yeah, and I'm 63 in 2 more years.
What are you going to do with this cab once you retire?
I keep it for a private car.
Okay. That's a beautiful sweater. Who made that one for you? You've got a Checker cab sweater on.
Oh, this, my late mother-in-law.
Okay. Now, what is your overhead? What does it cost you to take care of this cab every year?
Oh, 15 to 18,000. Last year it was 18,000 because I had to put in an air conditioning system and in the front fenders.
You have to modernize a little bit. I'm going to ask Carlos to get in there. You have an Easter display up there. When's that coming down?
Oh, in a week or 2. After everybody had his holidays,
okay.
Easter.
Johann, how many miles on this cab?
354,000 now.
And how do people respond to you when they see it?
Oh, very happy. They like to see a Checker. They come in, they say, a real cab, a Checker. I haven't been in one for years, and so on, yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump in the back, and I'm going to ask Johann to push a few buttons, because while this may be one of the oldest cabs, it still can hold 5 people. And go ahead, hit the buttons, Johann. And it has one of the modern things that I can't stand.
Please remember to take all of your belongings when leaving this taxi, and please get a receipt from the driver.
Well, you can't win everything. Back to you guys.
I really like those Checkers.
I
wish
them.
they hadn't stopped making them, and I wish they were able to keep them on the roads. That was my idea of a taxi. I mean, you could get a whole football team in those things. Now, since Chevrolet discontinued the Caprice 3 months ago, the only vehicle that is still in compliance with the Taxi and Limousine Commission's regulations is the Ford Crown Victoria. So the Taxi and Limousine Commission is conducting a national search for a new cab built especially for New York. The only prerequisite is that it be American-made, and if it's made in New York, even better. I don't know that there are any cars being made in New York.
Good story. Queens man. He's a retired cab driver. He still rides his 81 checkered cab. He's using it for his personal vehicle. Says it's treated him well and he's used to it. Guess how many miles? 424,000 miles on this thing, and he says it runs great.